Um, C's, what do you know about the Manosphere?
Oh,
Are you
the
a man?
the I identify as a male, and I believe in spheres, so I do know a thing about the manosphere.
You're an adult human male? Yes. No. So I'm making, of course, a Jesse Lee Peterson reference. Who's a incredibly manly man himself.
Oh, here we go, manosphere, the eternal pit bottom dwelling world of the internet, right here, encapsulated.
God, right? So one big name that's been flying around a lot lately is Andrew Tate. And this is Power Report, this show about politics, but it's also about culture. And this is really dangerous because, listen, what a lot of this show is and what a lot of my political project is, it's part of the death of traditional media and mainstream media sources and the like birth of new mainstream media sources. Unfortunately, those new mainstream media sources are Joe Rogan and Tim Pool
Oh.
and Ben Shapiro.
And Tipple's band.
Yes, and Temple is a band or Temple is band?
Temple has a band.
Wow, I was feeling so good for so many years about living on this earth, and now I don't. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Mostly. So, like, wow, what way to take the wind out of me right there. Tim Pool has a band. I wonder how it smells. Um, so
I can't wait. We're definitely need an audio face album review.
the Manosphere is part of mainstream culture now, unfortunately. It is a place where, and I mean, not really a place, so to speak. It's sort of like people remember the concept of the intellectual dark web from a couple years ago, where you had people like Eric Weinstein and Ben Shapiro and others who represented these sort of like forbidden thoughts. Joe Rogan was a part of this group who represented quote unquote forbidden thoughts because back then there was this shtick that these people would go on to college campuses. They would say things on college campuses that would get them to be protested by college students who oftentimes were in the right, but maybe didn't have the best ways of articulating their opinions. And then they would take these videos, cherry pick them, these right wingers would, and then point to them saying, look at the decaying of America. Look at how these crazy people represent these arguments and how they can barely speak up for them, right? But that sort of like, it was a really great marketing ploy. Unfortunately, one the New York Times fell for itself through Barry Weiss, who wrote about these ghouls. Now, Barry Weiss left the New York Times because she got way too much lost in the sauce, thinking that she was one of the intellectual dark web people. And now she has her own Substack things where she massages bigotry, hatred, uh, honestly, apartheid living on her things with Barry Weiss. But that intellectual dark web is influential to conservative thinking today. It comes from like, it's similar to Gamergate, where you had a bunch of people on the internet upset over one thing, over one radicalizing moment that took people to the right wing. So, what people watch day to day, if they're not watching political content, they're not watching sports content, they're watching self help content of some kind, especially a lot of guys. A lot of guys who are in a place where, listen, economy is rough. Things are sometimes out there difficult for men looking to find mates and dates, so to speak, whatever you're into. And people out there like Andrew Tate will come to the rescue. And so here's a piece from the Guardian's Observer by Shanti Das, kind of going inside the violent, misogynistic world of TikTok's new star, Andrew Tate. And we'll read some things about this. Andrew Tate says women belong in the home, can't drive, and are a man's property. He also thinks that rape victims must bear responsibility for their attacks and dates women aged 18 and 19 because he can make an imprint on them, according to videos online. In other clips, the British American kickboxer who poses with fast cars, guns, and portrays himself as a cigar smoking playboy talks about hitting and choking women, trashing their belongings, and stopping them from going out. It's, quoting, it's bang out the machete, boom her in the face, and grip her by the neck. Shut up, bitch, he says in one video, acting out how he'd attack a woman if she accused him of cheating. In another, he describes throwing a woman's things out the window, and in a third, he calls an ex-girlfriend who accused him of hitting her an allegation he denies, a quote, dumb hoe. The issue is that, before you begin, Caesar, the issue is that a lot of young men are very impressionable and they're getting their advice from this asshole.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that Andrew Tate is look, this man got big off one platform and one platform only. That's TikTok. TikTok is a dangerous place where all the wrong reasons, all the wrong people can blow up, and then they can blow up there and spread their influence. And he started doing like a basically a media campaign. He was on every single podcast you could ever see, you know. Um, he has like a lot of other points that I really hate too. Like he's an avid believer. I mean, he was in Romania where he resides. He's been arrested before on sex trafficking, and he used to run. He became rich with his brother off running a business that basically ran a webcam service for that women would participate in webcam service. He would run it, and his point was that he would take all the money and say that they're my girlfriend. So if my girlfriend is working for me, she deserves none of that money because she's mine. I own her. I own her. She's my property. He doesn't see women and people. He doesn't see women as people. He sees women as value, as property, and you can switch them out as cars and stuff. And I think that that's the most disgusting. Like, it's the most disgusting viewpoints. And when I was like watching him after a while, he was kind of saying that dumb rhetoric over and over, and I was like, he's just another one of these fugazi people because I know that he's a habitual overseller. He talks about being a championship kickboxer. He got his ass beat like 3 times. He wasn't even good. He was getting his ass beat all the time. He talks about being popping and this big guy. Why you hiding in Romania, dog? I thought you're a real one. Why you hiding in Romania if you're a real one? So he's always been an overseller. He talks about having 100,000 and 50,000 people in his exclusive Discord where people pay to become men and become powerful. It's not even true. The Discord damn near wiped his account, and like 20,000 members were deleted because they were bots. He's fake. He's a fake person. He's a phony. And unfortunately, Dan is right though. He does have a heavy influence on the youth culture because the youth culture is very much into that meme sphere, right? They're very influenced by um I saying something wrong or getting people upset is funny. It's like they like to see the reaction. And that progression is like very dangerous moving forward. And I liked when other members of podcasts have, combated him directly, and other streamers and content creators have combated his points vehemently. And I think it's caused a little bit of that initial dip that he had when he was crazy popping off this whole month and last month also.
Yeah, I want to react to some of chat because it's helping to go in. LG says he sees us as less than property, and that's right. And at a time when you have, in America especially, women's and people who can give birth, their reproductive rights are under assault. You have someone who's on Twitch legit saying like, "Oh yeah, women can't drive." You have someone like on TikTok and Twitch saying, "Oh yeah, women can't drive." Um, we made it bam. Sorry, I want to read Left of the Box comment first and then go into We Made It Bam with some commentary. But Left of the Box, by the way, hi, and shout out Left of the Box and check out all of Sandy's work youtube.com/Left of the Box, by the way.
Legendary Canadian.
Yes. I'm gonna have you on a future episode of Power Report as we lead up to the election on Power Report Live here, so don't think you're safe. But they say he's not quite an asshole and not really a dick. He's somewhere in between, a taint. And hashtag let's make Andrew Taint a thing.
Yeah, I'm down. We're doing that.
We got we got Bozo of the week. We got Andrew Taint. We got a lot of gems coming out of this episode. Really like it.
Bozos, hashtag Bozo, hashtag defund my dad, and hashtag Andrew Taint. What a phenomenal episode.
This is one for the books for sure. But now I want to get to We Made It Bam's comment. He's the natural progression of incel culture. And I'll correct you on one thing. He is maybe progression is a word. I'd say mainstreaming of incel culture.
Say natural. I wouldn't say the word is natural because his progression is extremely fueled and backed by pushing agenda on a social media platform. I wouldn't say it's like a natural progression. Now, his popularity, maybe his steadiness is something. It's very, of course, but I don't know about natural progression. But it's definitely not surprising, unfortunately, because as Dan mentioned earlier, the term manosphere, we all have seen consistently these people come in and out of like internet fandom, right? These manosphere, like these misogynistic, hateful guys that come in and out and get to dunk on women, then they disappear. They dunk on women, disappear. It happens very consistently in the history of internet and internet and YouTube.
Yeah. I was hearing something about like, and it's also about how these algorithms. We were just talking earlier in this episode about how like Jimmy Dore was ranting about how, oh, do you think it's fair that these private corporations are shady and they're showing how these deals are working? No. It's like, no, we don't think it's fair. Like, we don't like the way that they do a lot of these things, but they have that right to do it. And certain times, like, it's fair. I think a lot of times this content should violate a lot of terms and services for a lot of platforms, but it's not taken down because the engagement, the eyeballs, and the attention are what help drive a lot of this content. And there's two things to pick apart from there. When when gaming YouTube channels and movie YouTube channels and things that are absolutely have nothing to do with what I'm about to describe drop everything and convert to 24/7 Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial coverage, only to go back and say, okay, now we're going back to movies and video games, etc. They do that because they're chasing an algorithm. They do that because there's a lot of eyeballs chasing that coverage. Now, why were a lot of people chasing that coverage? Because of it was a wild trial back and forth, but it was also a lot of misogyny on display. I'm not going to say anything about like Johnny Depp or Amber Heard there, but like the way it was being consumed by the public was a very much, yeah, look at Johnny Depp showing that cheating woman. Like, yeah, like it was tinged in all of this as though, oh well, Me Too was just like it was a dream. Like it was just something that happened in the past that like didn't really resonate with anyone, didn't have any meaning to anyone. We saw the patterns repeat themselves again, where in public, uh, women's lives and their attention are under threat by men who perceive them as objects, and that opinion is, you know, not just being glamorized in music, which is like a touchy subject we talk about in audio phase all the time, but it's being glamorized by people who are straight up saying online, no, you should hit women. No, you should like yell at women and berate them and call them names because that's the way you become successful in life, not just with women, conversely, somehow, but also by getting money and fame and being attractive. People actually just like saying that straight out. There's no subliminal messaging. There's no like music or beats or abstract interpretation. He's just doing this.
Yeah, and it sucks because this is a consistently what women have to deal with, right? They consistently have to deal with living in a culture where these males and males in general get to impose power, dehumanize them, see them as property, and bring and spread this hateful culture. Yet, like whenever there's a position where a male and a male and a female are in opposition of each other, such as the Johnny Depp trial, it's very easy and for people, especially in America or in the world, to like take one side and like it's not just taking a side based upon the judicial reason for it. They take the side just because like there's deep seated like misogyny behind it, and it's like their chance to express it in a free form factor. And I literally hate it. That's why I don't like it. I don't jump in, join. I'm not doing this because it's like literally extremely annoying. And people like Andrew Tate, I'll say this, they take that side that people like to jump on against women, and they like push that joint to the limit. They push it to the limit. They grow their clout, and they just get so much power and influence. And it's scary to know that he's someone that has like a whole layout on like what he wants to do moving forward, and it's the fucking worst.
Yeah. I want to go into just give some more details about how we kind of came to attention here. Um, but his rapid surge to fame was not by chance. Evidence obtained by The Observer shows that followers of Tate are being told to flood social media with videos of him choosing the most controversial clips in order to achieve maximum views and engagement. The coordinated effort involving thousands of members of Tate's private online academy, read Ponzi scheme, Hustlers University,
Horrible name.
super on the nose, and
Hustlers University.
a network of copycat accounts on TikTok has been described by experts as a quote blatant attempt to manipulate the algorithm and artificially boost his content. In less than 3 months, the strategy has earned him a huge following online and potentially made him millions of pounds, with 127,000 members now paying the £39 a month to join Hustler University's community, many of them men and boys from the UK and the US.
Yeah, which I do think that number is a little bit capped, to be honest with you guys. I think it's bot and stuff, but basically how Dan said it's a pyramid scheme is that through Hustlers University, that algorithm is basically the reason people would make an insane, all his members would make a ton of accounts and they would put an affiliate code. And the affiliate code is the way they were able to get residuals off of people signing up with the membership. So sounds a little bit Herbalife-y, sounds a little bit Cutco-ish, sounds like a pyramid scheme. And that pyramid scheme was able to boost him massively online.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. Like, the Hassan Piker, also someone I worked with on TYT. So, like, there's for your Jimmy Doors, there was your Hassan Pikers, and I was yelling at everyone while I was working there. No, but he debated Andrew Tate on his stream and made him cry. like legit made him take off his headphones and smoke a cigar while on stream in the middle of a debate because he just didn't like his line of questioning on whether or not women are bad drivers or whether or not Andrew Tate's just a shitty driver.
Yeah, he made this man cry because he couldn't decipher the difference between empirical evidence and empirical evidence. It was just like absolutely, it was a beautiful moment. He got absolutely dunked on.
Yeah, he was like, no, I have this opinion and this is what I see, therefore it's fact. And Hassan's like, yeah, no.
Yeah, Hassan's like, do you believe the Earth is flat? He's like, no, I don't believe the Earth is flat. He's like, how do you know that? Oh, I have personal experience. He's like, what? You have personal experience? Would you go up to space? Absolutely dunked on. It was legendary.
No. Noted pickup artist Andrew Tate has been to bed with Earth. Actually, he actually got to fourth base with Earth. Home run, all bases with Earth. Got to strip Earth down to the clothes. So no, he knows all about Earth's curves. That's for sure. Yeah. So again, this breaks TikTok's rules. No misogyny, no copycat accounts. He's allowed to grow. He's currently apparently a TV producer and a professional kickboxer who's currently in Romania avoiding some issues. And this is some worrying stuff on here because I think this unveils an important point because the left keeps losing culture wars, important culture wars. And I think part of the reason is like, okay, we're not going to engage in, Dr. Seuss book banning like it's a serious thing when COVID-19 is a pandemic and it's rolling around. Like, we're not going to do shit like that. We're actually going to focus on the real issues. But it allows the Republicans to expand the universe of politics, to reach out to people who aren't necessarily paying attention to politics all the time by going, hey, look at what the Democrats and the liberals are doing. They're trying to put transgender people in sports. And then they just like leave the conversation. But now there's this dialogue where people don't even know what transgender people are. People don't even know that this is happening in like 3 or 4 sporting events around the country, like high school sporting events or whatever. Like, the waters are muddied because the Republicans are allowed to play this game. And then the Democrats, or not even the Democrats, because, we don't love the Democratic Party or here or political parties at all in this podcast, but the left content creation-wise they always come up flat-footed against these things because there are no manosphere people of the left. There are no self-help gurus on the left who are telling men there are no Jordan Petersons on the left saying, hey, clean your room, but also like actually respect women unironically. Like, hey, do these things for yourself, and these are ways you can help to become a better person, become a person who's maybe attractive to the same or opposite sex or whoever you're trying to attract, is by expressing these good character values and also taking care of yourself physically and mentally. Like, we don't have figures like that on the left. Now we do. I mean, there's like the outwardly masculine appearing figures like Hassan Piker, and then you have folks like FD Signifier on YouTube who are making a lot of videos from a very avowtly male, masculine, but leftist point of view for men, for people who are in these spaces, so that like on the internet where we're consuming information, these people don't fall down rabbit holes of misogyny. But I think the left, like to kind of get to my point here, Season, I'll open up to you,
Mhm.
hasn't done as good of a job as they have needed to in offering counter programming to this.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. I mean, that raises a tough question, right? I mean, on one hand, it's like it's incumbent on us and not just us as males and females and everybody of any gender role or non-gender roles that they believe in to dunk on people like this because I don't we don't want them to spread. You don't want these disgusting ideals to spread. Um Kids that enjoy this, it's like they're kids are little sponges. You could show them anything that's dumb, they automatically love it. And it's because they're just enjoying being in like a sheep mentality. They enjoy the crowd, they're enjoying the rush. Kids enjoy the rush of like making a mistake or like doing something they're not supposed to. Like that's why they're so heavily influenced on this movie forward. That's why it's dangerous. It's difficult for the left to come and create someone that becomes a pinnacle, like a Chad like figure, right? Like the ultimate male or that is like, hey, like don't be like that. It's not cool. It's hard. It's hard because on this side that we talk about eat left eating left, it's the same thing where people have such varying opinions when you get to this side of the world where your opinion is not some closed-minded dumb idiot pea brain stuff like this. You open up your mind to so many likes and dislikes. You open up your mind to so many different things that appeal to you. So it's difficult to have one singular person that goes, that's the person that like is really repping us out here. But I think that the left can have multiple figures of different types of backgrounds, different types of ethnicities that can be the people that we look at and go like, hey man, like wait to shut that down because men like this are just feed off negativity. They feed off incel culture, and we don't need all that. And that's why that Hassan video is so good because like here, like in that video, if people watch it, Andrew Tate is like assuming he's bisexual, making fun of him, like all kinds of stuff that he has nothing to do with because he's weak, he's soft. And the whole time Assange just stays his case calm and says, like, that has nothing to do with anything. We're just talking about why you're wrong. And that kind of like the addiction and like behavior is how you want to address people like this because like they feed off of you getting riled up. So to see them getting riled up instead is like, no, it was beautiful to see that. Like I hate people like that so much.
We've got to go in the chat here because I think LG had something great here. I've
Mhm.
watched men make jokes with their sons that perpetuate this mentality. It won't change until men stop teaching their sons that this is okay. Absolutely true. And speaking up when they see this behavior and encouraging their sons to speak up when they see this behavior. It's it's sickening because like you have and like this is more of LG going off it because like we've talked in person and like also about this, but like the misogyny that is experienced is just a method of making it through rooms of power. You say America's the place where you're supposed to like find opportunity. Okay, well you seek opportunity as a woman and in very recent history for the past like 5, 10, 15, 20 years to this day, people have been in rooms like they have to play with the misogynistic boys and play along with that just to get a seat at the table. And it shouldn't have to be like that. You should have to be disrespected in order to go through with that. Another thing LG said, I know it's been fueled by the rise of the internet. You guys weren't even born yet when this started on chat rooms and people hiding behind this thing called the internet. I mean, I remember chat rooms I was way too young to be on. Not necessarily chat rooms, but like internet forums where, it was very clear that it was a lot of men on it and a lot of guys on it. And when it's a lot of guys who are if you're using an internet forum at the time, you were very nerdy. And so you're probably like very introverted and kind of bookish in the computer. So you're already primed for what has now become the manosphere. These disaffected men who feel that the idea of them attracting a member of the opposite sex is too beyond them. So they've started to turn into this like, oh, it's not my fault, it's them. I always never forget that Tim Pool clip where he's talking about how his dad had two kids in the house by the time he was his age, and how he's still single. And Tim Pool's co-host was like, "Oh, do you wonder why that is at all?" And Tim Pool's like, "I don't know. Can't be me though." Like straight face, just like, "Oh no, this can't be my problem." I think men on all regards, like fathers, sons, uncles, they don't look within themselves very much around these kind of things, and we don't encourage each other in conversations to look into each other at these different things. Um, I think it's gotten better with certain people in certain generations, and in situations like the Hassan Andrew Tate debate, that's being modeled in a better way. But men continually need to do a better job. I won't even give us like a pass just because like we're on here and saying the right stuff, because like we live in a culture that still allows this to happen. So there's still more that even uh men who are on the right track of things can do to fight misogyny, to make sure that it's not acceptable in environments where we happen to also partake as well. Because that's how you slowly start to change culture. This is a top level, like Power Report is politics, is culture, is all of these things kind of conversation. And this is one of those points. So we need to hit these men's rights activists where it hurts by humiliating them. But we also have to have empathy in a way. There are a lot of disaffected young men who can be shown the right way. It's like with politics, just because people disagree with you and can be easily convinced of dumb things doesn't mean you can't make that phenomenon work for you and use it for good. It doesn't take
That's
that
true.
yeah, it doesn't take that much to convince people of smart things, it turns out, which is a little bit of a blessing for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that was fun. We're winding down here, and there's a couple more things I wanted to get to. Um, one is